Hello, callers. Welcome to Viva Barca and welcome to another interesting episode where we are going to be discussing on the latest developing stories. We are going to begin this episode discussing on three areas that Barcelona could still improve under the management of Xavi Hernandez. We are going to be discussing on that as we move ahead. Then to conclude this episode, talking about this transfer story as has been reported by Fabrizio Romano, that Barcelona will continue following Julian Araujo, the 21-year-old defender from LA Galaxy, after collapsed January move. We are also going to be discussing on that. So guys, before we get right into the full story, please do ensure to subscribe, turn on the post bell notification to always stay notified whenever I post a new video. Consider liking the video and please watch right up to the very end. 15 months into his stint as the manager of Barcelona, Xavi Hernandez has done a sterling job, having taken over at a time when the club were languishing in the mid-table last season. The 42-year-old has turned the Blaugrana into a title contender. Indeed, Barca are sitting comfortably atop the La Liga standings this term, with a 5-point gap over arch-rivals Real Madrid. They also beat the Merengues to lift the Spanish Super Cup title, the first trophy of the Xavi era. The Catalans are also in the semi-finals of the Copa del Rey. The only blemish so far has been the early exit from the UEFA Champions League both last season and this season. Xavi has also brought about major improvements in players like Ousmane Dembele. He's enjoying his best phase as a Barca player. Ronald Araujo's ball distribution has really improved. Pedri and Xavi look much more polished, and Alejandro Balde has absolutely erupted. While there are a lot of positives from Xavi's time in charge of the club, there remain some areas that Barcelona still need to improve on to reach the gloried heights of the past. I think the first thing is killing off matches. One major issue that Xavi's Barca have faced this season is the fact that they have found it really hard to kill off matches. Oftentimes, Barcelona have seen their levels dip in matches after taking the lead or in the second halves. The manager himself has highlighted the issue on several occasions while interacting with the media. Why it was not an issue against Real Betis last time out, during matches against Real Sociedad and Girona, to name a couple, Barca were cutting it too close to comfort. We lack aggression in front of goal. In the end, you win 1-0, and at the end, the opponents have that chance. We can't give away these advantages. It's a good game from us, but it looks like we scored the first goal and that's it. We have to go for the second goal. Xavi had said after the win over Sociedad, Barcelona have shown that they are, more often than not, a cut above their opponents, but they need to start learning to close the doors on the opposition for good in matches. Then the second, goals from outside the box, right? Goals from outside the box. Ever since he took over the reins of the team, Xavi has stressed that his players must take risks and take more shots at the goal from outside the box. While that has improved to a certain extent, the Blaugrana continue to be reliant on Robert Lewandowski's prowess. So far this season, Barca have scored just one goal from outside the box in La Liga, while it has never been an area of strength. Given that there have been problems breaking open defenses at times, adding another weapon to the arsenal in the form of long-distance strikes would bode so well for the team. At the same time, direct free kicks are another area Barcelona need to improve. The Catalans have not scored a single goal from a direct free kick since Lionel Messi's strike against Valencia in May 2021. That is a damning statistic and one that needs to be set right as soon as possible. Then the third, player management or rotation. This one is an area that Xavi needs to work on rather than the players. It is often said that great teams have great depth within the squad, while Barcelona have a well-rounded roster with two options for almost every position on the pitch. The manager has not always made the best use of it. Players such as Frank Kessié, Eric Garcia and Ansu Fati have not received enough opportunities for them to get some momentum and rhythm going. With Pablo Torre was also underutilized before being sent to play for Barca Athletic. It is understandable that the manager's perspective that is the best not to tinker with what is working. But when the team are playing in a game almost every 3 days, effective rotation of players becomes very important. while also avoiding any unrest or frustrations within the squad. So those are the things. I think if Xavi can go through those 5 things, this team will be perfect. We are playing well. We are dominating now in La Liga. We are on form. We are in a good time now in our team. But Xavi, of course, still will need to understand that he's still a very young coach and a lot of things to still learn in the job. But he needs to try to identify the problems before things got worse. Because I think Barcelona are doing well. But if Xavi can rectify these 5 things that we've just spoken about, I think this team will be doing so well. Try to make use of other players. Frankie C came ever since, but he has been looked as a useless player. And one thing that baffles me is when these players like this, they are on the bench, you start hearing rumors of link to another club. And you ask yourself, we need squad depth. But Xavi will rely on his players that he likes the most. And at the end of the day, the other guys will be frustrated on the bench and they'll start like, okay, maybe I'll go to another club and have opportunities. But come on, bigger clubs have players that they are all satisfied on the bench because they also know that they also have opportunities that the coach shows them. But Xavi is always, I don't know, I understand that he's really scared to lose. And we're in a very good form, good rhythm, but he needs to try to make it it's very important to trust the other guys on the bench. Trust them and they will deliver too. They are quality players. You have to trust the players that you bought. Then on to the next story of discussion. After a relatively quiet winter transfer window, Barcelona were scrambling on the deadline day to get deals done. Having sanctioned Hector Bellerin's exit, the Catalans push hard to bring in a new right back and seemed to, have struck the deal for the LA Galaxy Julian Araujo. The 21-year-old Mexican international had been on Barca's radars for some time now, and they managed to agree to a €4 million deal with LA Galaxy for his signing. Personal terms were also agreed and the move looked set to be completed, but the club missed the deadline to file the necessary documents by 18 seconds, due to which FIFA has not authorized the transfer. Now, Fabrizio Romano is reporting that Barcelona will continue to follow Araujo for the future after seeing their deal to sign him last month collapse. With the move not materializing, the Mexican will go back to playing with the LA Galaxy, his club, with the MLS season set to start later this month. And it seems like Barca will be keeping track of how the Mexican international performs and progresses with an eye on signing him in the future. The right back slot has been an issue for the La Liga leaders Barca for many years now. While Jules Koundé has been performing admirably in the role of late, the Frenchman sees himself as a centre-back and would prefer to return to his natural position. So it becomes imperative for Barca to bring in a new right-sided fullback in the summer. Benjamin Pavard of Bayern has been heavily linked to late, although the Barca did not intend to meet the 30 million that Bayern are asking. Other options like Joan Foyt of Villarreal and Borussia Dortmund's Thomas Meunier also remain on the agenda. As for Julian Araujo, LA Galaxy head coach and interim CEO Greg Vanney recently said that the defender was still in limbo as the club were yet to receive an official ruling of his transfer. Jules is still a bit in limbo. We haven't got official documentation. We haven't gotten an official ruling, he said. But Romano's update states that it is definitely over and that FIFA has not greenlighted the transfer, with an appeal unlikely to change the ruling. So only time will tell whether Barca reignite the interest in the LA Galaxy defender comes summer. So guys, with that we have come to an end of this episode. Thanks a lot for watching. Until next time, bye bye.